Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Human Rights Watch calls for the extension of the mandate on Sudan and for the Council to request the OHCHR to dispatch an investigative team with expertise in sexual violence to investigate human rights violations in Darfur, Southern Kordofan and Blue Nile. The Sudanese government's widespread human rights violations and failure to investigate and prosecute those responsible justify specific scrutiny by the Council. Darfur, Southern Kordofan and Blue Nile states remain engulfed in armed conflicts in which numerous abuses have been committed, including indiscriminate aerial bombing in civilian areas and deliberate attacks on towns and villages, unlawful killings of civilians, sexual violence against women and girls, and unlawful destructions of civilian property. The fighting has forced hundreds of thousands of civilians to flee. Sudan continues to severely limit the access of the AU-UN peacekeeping mission to many locations in Darfur and restricts humanitarian aid access into Southern Kordofan and Blue Nile. Rights to freedom of association and assembly are severely restricted, as security forces repeatedly used excessive, including lethal force, against peaceful protesters, such as during the September 2013 anti-austerity protests, when more than 170 were shot dead. During the April 2015 election period, the government continued its crackdown on the media, civil society groups, and opposition parties through arrests and arbitrary detentions. A number of repressive laws, including the National Security Act, contravene human rights norms. The National Intelligence and Security Service has sweeping powers of arrest and detention and routinely tortures and ill-treats detainees. Yet security forces, including national security officials, are shielded from prosecution by a patchwork of immunities. Sudan's repressive public order codes restrict women's freedom of movement and dress choices, and judicial authorities continue to apply Sharia law penalties such as flogging that violate international prohibitions on cruel, inhuman, and degrading punishment. In view of these ongoing serious abuses and Sudan's record of failure to provide accountability, we call on the Council to ensure continued scrutiny. Thank you.